What is going on, everybody? I go by the name of Curry, and I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on Sneaker Fetish. Today, we're talking about First We Feast. If you guys don't know what First We Feast is, they're a food company that actually makes real food now, but more importantly than that, they are the creators of the show Hot Ones. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with Hot Ones, it's one of the most popular shows on Complex. It's so popular, as a matter of fact, they actually got their own game show now on actual television. Celebrities have to talk while eating increasingly hot chicken wings that have very, very hot sauces on them. And we're gonna get a little deeper into the show, but before we get too deep into it, I want to start with the packaging. Now, of course, we're looking at a Reebok. You guys can tell from the title what it already is, but the packaging to me was very, very impressive. First things first, on the lid here, you see you have the First We Feast logo breathing out the fire that has the Reebok Vector logo. Very dope. Now, when you flip the box towards the front here, you see, first of all, a bunch of chicken wings with some milk in there, of course, for the spiciness. You also see these lines here that go from green all the way to red. That's what's known as the Scoville meter, and that is the theme for today's sneaker. You guys know that I'm a sucker for really good packaging, and so I love what Reebok and First We Feast and Complex did with the packaging on the shoe. Very, very dope, but without further ado, let's get into the sneaker. Boom. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is the First We Feast Hot Ones Reebok Shaqnosis Scoville Levels. This is a fun shoe, you know, and that's really all that I can say about it. It's a fun novelty shoe that actually is kind of dope. I like the way that they executed the shoe. We're gonna take a little closer look at the shoe and the materials itself, but first things first, it's a Shaqnosis. You can't go wrong with the Shaqnosis. It's a classic silhouette, one of the most popular silhouettes from Reebok. And the fact that they did this as one of 3 different releases that they're doing with Reebok, it's incredible that First We Feast and Hot Ones went from being this little web show on the internet to blowing up into this huge game show, and now they have a 3-shoe deal with Reebok. This one personally was my favorite out of the 3. All right, starting with the upper of the shoe here, it's a classic Reebok Shaqnosis. Like I mentioned, you can't go wrong with it, but I love how they executed the different Scoville level units throughout each one of the levels of the shoe, going all the way up to the top. Now, before we get too deep into it, we need to talk about what Scoville level units are. Normally, I would say this to the end of the video after we look at the shoe, but I feel like it's really gonna help you guys to understand what they are before we take an even deeper look at the shoe. Long story short, Scoville units measure the amount of capsaicin, which is the thing that makes spicy things spicy inside of food. Now, the originator of the Scoville level unit test, actually, his name is Scoville. His name is Wilbur Scoville, and he was a pharmacist. So he actually came up with this way to extract capsaicin out of spicy foods and to measure it based on this scale that goes from 0 all the way up to about 3 million Scoville units. Now, I want you guys to comment down below if you're a fan of spicy foods. Me personally, I can go either way on it. I used to be a big hot Cheeto guy back in the day, but nowadays I try to veer away from the hot stuff as I get a little bit older, but it is what it is. So sound off down below, let me know. Just to give you guys a little bit of an idea about how this Scoville level unit thing works. Things like bell peppers, right, which really aren't spicy at all, they start from between about 0 to 100 Scoville units. Very, very low units. Then you have things like Tabasco sauce, certain hot sauces in Louisiana that you can get at regular grocery stores everywhere for a pretty cheap price. And those usually are around 25,000 to about 40,000 Scoville units, somewhere in there. It's spicy, but it's definitely not crazy. Then from there, you get a little bit more spicy. Those Scoville units of things like habaneros and peppers like that, they range from anywhere between 100,000 Scoville units into about 700,000 Scoville units for the more rare habanero peppers. Now, if you want to get even crazier from there, that's when you start getting into the peppers that have really, really weird names to them. Names like the Infinity Chili and the Trinidad Scorpion Butch Tea pepper. Those 2 peppers range between 750 Scoville level units to 1.5 million Scoville units. So that's ridiculously hot, but it doesn't stop there. At the very top of the scale of Scoville level units are peppers that are called Pepper X, Dragon's Breath, the Carolina Reaper, the Trinidad Moruga Scorpion, and Law Enforcement Pepper Spray. I kid you not, there are peppers out there that are almost as hot and spicy as real deal police pepper spray that you can spray in your face. I don't know why anybody would want that in their mouth per se, but hey, If you like it, I love it. So getting back to the sneaker now, it may start to make a little bit more sense why on each one of the rings on the Shaq Gnosis, it goes from green, which are the lower levels of the Scoville unit, all the way into red, which are the hottest levels of the Scoville units. Now let's talk a little bit about the materials because they're actually pretty nice. You have a mix here of suede and leather. Now chances are this is a synthetic suede because these sneakers are priced pretty cheap. So don't expect top quality suede here, but it's not bad. It feels pretty nice to the touch. And the leather that offsets the suede on each one of the panels, it's not bad actually. It's a really solid sneaker. You get this really nice leather patch here right above the midsole with the Reebok Vector logo. And then as I mentioned, you get those hits of suede that offset with the leather in each one of the panels going all the way up. Taking a top down look at the shoe here, first thing you're gonna notice is that down here on the vamp, on the toe box here, you actually have the flame right here. Now, I kind of wish that they did a little bit more than this, either made the flame red, made it 3M or something like that. I felt like that would have been kind of cool to just go all out since this is kind of a novelty shoe, but they kept it kind of muted, but you do see the flame down here in the toe box. Moving up from there, you get standard black laces, but the tongue of the shoe is really, really interesting. On the tongue of the shoe here, you guys may recognize this from watching the Hot Ones show. You have that hot pepper logo here with the Scoville level units rising, those lines right underneath that says 1.995 million units. So that is amongst one of the hottest Scoville levels and one of the hottest sauces that they actually feature on the show now. The sauces have differentiated during the seasons from 1 to 13. Now, because Hot Ones actually offers their own sauce, the hottest sauce is one that they call the Last Dab Apollo XXX or something like that. And apparently it is registered somewhere around 2 million Scoville units. So you can buy the sauce, and if you feel adventurous enough, let me know if you've ever tried the sauce before. I'm interested to see just how much pain you put yourself in for that sauce. On the back of the shoe here, you see the First We Feast chicken logo here. So again, you get that really nice co-branding along with Reebok with First We Feast. Not only that, but you also get a little bit of that red suede on the back of the shoe as well. It's not bad. And the logo is actually stitched into the back of the shoe instead of being embossed. And I actually like that touch. I like stitching. To me, it just feels a little bit more quality. Now, on top of the black laces, you're also gonna get a spare set of these red laces, and they're not really like a true red. I feel like they're more of like an infrared color here, but I don't know how well that's picking up on the camera, but it's more like an infrared color, but you can swap those laces out. Moving down to the midsole of the shoe here, it's a classic Shaq Gnosis. Again, you guys have seen this shoe a million times. Classic little window right there. You can see the hex technology there, nothing really different. Same thing on the outsole of the shoe here. Red Vector Reebok logo here with that little bit of red, and of course the Shaq symbol right in the midfoot. Last but not least, probably one of my favorite parts of the sneaker as well is the insole. If you notice, the insole has the same chicken wings and milk that were featured on the box as well. Really, really nice. And on the heel, you have Reebok Presents Hot Ones with that really dope co-branding between First We Feast and Reebok. Very, very nice. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the sneakers. Again, it's a novelty shoe. It's a fun shoe. This is one that's really a conversation starter. It's a sneaker where somebody may ask you, hey, do you have any cool shoes that are kind of a conversation starter, kind of off the beaten path? And this is the one. Now, sometimes these kind of collaborations between television shows and different companies and stuff, sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Now, my personal opinion, do I think that this sneaker is gonna like fly off the shelves? Not necessarily, especially not all 3 different colorways and 3 different models of the shoe. They made a Club C for this collaboration, and they made one other shoe. I can't think of what it is, maybe a 1985 or something. I can't remember what the other Reebok is, but 3 different sneakers. This one to me had the most personality. It was the only black shoe out of the collection as well. The other ones have their own details that I thought are really, really dope as well. We've seen different sneaker companies link up with different television shows to make collaborative sneakers. Remember the SpongeBob collection that Kyrie did with Nike? That was really, really dope. Some were more popular than others, but it did very, very well. You guys remember the Game of Thrones collection that Adidas did for their Ultra Boost with Game of Thrones? That was really, really good. I believe we did a video on one of those sneakers from Game of Thrones. It was fly. And there's a lot of others that have been done as well. But now here we are with this one, with the Hot Ones, Complex. Now, Complex making a sneaker with Reebok makes a ton of sense because they're so heavily connected in streetwear and sneakers. But here's the thing. A lot of times what people tend to disconnect with is the fact that the demographic that's watching the Hot Ones game show may not be the same demographic that's super into sneakers. So what ends up happening is that you create a novelty shoe like this that goes so far left that you really wear the sneaker or you own the sneaker because you're such a big fan of the show. Now, in certain shoes like the Pineapple Kyrie's with SpongeBob, that work. The kids love the SpongeBob shoes because they love SpongeBob. But a lot of times that's what connects the most are people who are true fans of the show that's doing a collaboration, because if you don't really care about Hot Hot Ones, you're probably not gonna wanna wear the sneaker. But the thing about it is, if you are a fan of Hot Ones, are you also a sneakerhead? That's where I think it gets a little bit difficult, because not everybody that's a fan of the show is a big fan of sneakers like that. But for the people who are, I think this is a pretty solid pickup. It's not a bad price. I believe it was $100 or like 120 bucks. The price really wasn't bad at all, but you know, if you guys are a little more price sensitive, waiting for other things to come out, I can see these going on sale if you guys aren't, you know, going out there to go buy them up. And either way, I still think that it's a pretty solid pickup. No, nobody is telling me to say this. No, these sneakers were not gifted. I really do think it's actually not a bad pickup. Again, if you're a fan of the show and or if you're a fan of the Shacknosis. But if you're not a fan of Hot Ones or First We Feast, then I probably would go ahead and pass on these if you're just really not into it like that. But me personally, I love the show. I think that the show has some of the most iconic moments that I've seen on YouTube in quite some time. It never gets old seeing celebrities sweat underneath that pressure of eating those chicken wings with that hot sauce on them. You guys remember when Shaq actually was on Hot Ones and his face lit up just when he was kind of licking on the chicken wing and saw how hot the sauce was. Of course, the infamous Idris Elba episode of Hot Ones when he started coughing and he could barely compose himself, and that became the meme of the year for the end of last year. There's some really incredible moments that have happened on Hot Ones over the last 13 seasons, and personally, I'm looking forward to more seasons of it. I'm looking forward to seeing more of the game show and of watching Sean Evans, who is the host of the game show and was the host of Hot Ones on YouTube. I'm looking forward to seeing how they grow and what they do next with it. It's really big, it's really popular. But that's pretty much all that I gotta say about these. Now it's time for you guys to sound off down in the comments and let me know what you guys think about the First We Feast Hot Ones Reebok Shacknosis Scoville levels. Are these ones that you guys want to add to your collection? Are these ones that you guys are looking to pick up? Are you going to wait until they go on sale and then pick them up maybe if they're a little bit cheaper? Or are these just going to be a hard pass for you completely? Do you guys own any of the TV and sneaker collaborations like the SpongeBob's or the Game of Thrones or another one that you may like? Sound up down below. Let me know that as well. Of course, write down in the comments, make sure that you click on that subscribe button so we can welcome you into the Sneaker Fetish family to make sure you don't miss out on any more heat that comes through like these, because I guarantee you I got a lot more heat on the way. I would say heat, talking about a shoe about Scoville levels and peppers. Anyway, as always, I want to thank you guys for joining me here today on Sneaker Fetish, taking a look at these with me, unboxing them with me for a couple of minutes. I go by the name of Kari. This is the First We Feast Hot Ones Reebok Shacknosis Scoville levels. And until next time, I'm out.